Check, check. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. Please have a seat and turn to page 3 in your liturgy books, the one that is not spiral bound. Gata of Atonement. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 Refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. Mahayana Refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers. For the lineage of teachers before them, I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, and may their vows be completely realized. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please turn now in your other liturgy book, the one with the spiral binding, for today's reading. It is found on page 32, Uji, Being Time. The way the self arrays itself is the form of the entire world. See each thing in this entire world as a moment of time. Things do not hinder one another, just as moments do not hinder one another. The way-seeking mind arises in this moment. A way-seeking moment arises in this mind. It is the same with practice and with attaining the way. Thus, the self setting itself out in array sees itself. This is the understanding that self is time. Know that in this way there are myriads of forms and hundreds of grasses throughout the entire earth, and yet each grass and each form itself is the entire earth. The study of this is the beginning of practice. When you are in this place, there is just one grass. There is just one form. There is understanding of form, and beyond understanding of form. There is understanding of grass, and beyond understanding of grass. Since there is nothing but just this moment, this time being is all the time there is. Grass being, form being, are both time. Each moment is all being. Each moment is the entire world. Reflect now whether any being or any world is left out of the present moment. Please stand now for the Heart Sutra. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, practicing deep Prajna Paramita, clearly saw that all five skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond elusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajna paramita, attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and proclaim: Gate, gate, para, gate, parasam, gate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasam, gate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasam, gate, bodhisvaha. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, existing right here now. Whenever these devoted invocations are set forth, they are perceived and subtly answered. We dedicate their merits to all members of our human family throughout space and time. We especially dedicate their merits to those who suffer as a result of calamity, cruelty, and war. We also dedicate them to Sarah Tenke Kier and her family at the time of her death, and Aunt Sharon. We especially dedicate these merits also to those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. Honor wisdom, Mahaprajna, Paramita. Please prepare for Zazen. prepare for Kinhin, which is walking meditation. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently today to take advantage of this beautiful weather and our beautiful new space. We'll begin our walking meditation in the usual way, but our ushers are going to help guide us out the door once we come around this way, and we're going to do an outside walking meditation using the portico, making a circle all the way around the zendo and coming through the door. So at the sound of the clappers, first and third rows will turn to their right, second and fourth rows will turn to their left. We'll begin at a slow pace with 1 half step for each cycle of the breath. At the next sound of the clappers, we'll go to a regular walking pace, and our ushers will help guide us out and around the building portico. At the sound of the clappers, please put your hands palm to palm in gassho and return back to the seat where you started. At the sound of the clappers, we'll recite the Song of Covenant, which is found on page 8. We, the Daishin Kokoji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated for this afternoon's talk. Please sit comfortably and face towards our teachers. In a moment, we will be reciting the Gata on Opening the Sutra, which is also found on page 8. Gata on Opening the Sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it.
Thank you very much for being here. Please sit comfortably and in a way that we can see each other. Doan Sensei and I have been reflecting together on what a journey has happened during this Ango. I mean, if you consider it objectively, it's been quite a ride, quite the Dharma trip. And I think everybody gets a Dharma trip when they show up. In fact, today we had a noble first-time visitor who was prompt for beginning instruction, which didn't happen. So patience paramita. And then, if I'm not wrong in this, I think we decided, Doan Sensei decided, let's try Kinhin outside. I think we need to sweep the porch. Let's sweep the porch. Oh, no time. Okay. So Doan grabs a broom and grabs the new guy. Hey, take a broom. I don't know whether the new guy knows it or not, but that is an incredibly auspicious way to begin your Zen training. So everybody did Kinhin, swept by the sensei and the new guy, all right? So there's a little mini trip. And this really is a house of miraculous trips. I mean, really. If you can remember, it's hard for me to put my mind back 90 days ago. For those who may not know what I'm talking about, we have two roughly 90-day training periods in the year where we kind of kick it up a notch. And boy, did we follow through this time. I sat down with the calendar and a paper, and I made a rough sketch. Try not to be intimidated. There were 3 sessions, 3 retreats that happened. I don't have figures for how many meals or how many dokusan or how many liturgies happened, but all of them. We had 3 workshops. If you can remember, Melissa Roshi was zoomed in here in our presence. Remember, the focus of this Ango is women, celebrating women's accomplishments in the Dharma, right? And happily, there is much to celebrate. And so Melissa Roshi came and shared koan salon practice with us, which was just a delight, We had then Dosho Roshi came in, and he's not only an astute guide and practitioner of the way, but he's also a hell of a translator of traditional and Buddhist Chinese and Japanese, so that's pretty heavy. And so he gave us a good insight into the 10-line Kanzeon, the Kuan Yin of compassion. Who is she? What is this practice? It was very rich and very deep. And then lastly, Doan Sensei gave us an introduction again to the White Tara Sadhana, which is something that I'll come back to in a moment. So right there, if nothing else happened but those intensive retreats and those workshops, already it's a full gourmet meal. And by the way, I know what that is now. We did one in London. We actually did. We went to a 5-star French, no kidding, what is this meal? And it was great. All these little things you can't identify came out one after the next, tasting like you have no reference for, and it was just wonderful. But this tastes better. So not only did we do those things, but in the midst of this, we have a Jikai initiate class that's well underway. So inside this Ango, which is dedicated to recognizing the feminine, were we training a cadre of, 20-some initiates into the moral and ethical teachings of the Dharma. And I must say that it's been a very, very deep experience, and the class is just doing great. Heartfelt, total engagement into this great matter, right? So if nothing but that happened already, a brilliantly full meal, and yet, wait, there's a long list. Sewing practices. This is now accessible to us in a way that has not been. We have Yugen and we have Kaishin, Reverend Kaishin, our sewing lead, sewing teachers, really, no less. And now we have actual times here where people can come in and take up the practice of sewing, which, if you don't know why that would be a practice, just hang around a while, and you'll probably get some sense of it, you know. An initiate recently said, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, eventually you get a haircut, you know. Heads up. Let's see, administrative stuff. We had 3 board meetings, always a delight. But really, you don't see it. But you know, anyone who's been around the block a time or two knows that to facilitate what's actually happening here is an immense project, usually undertaken by full-time paid professionals putting in 40 hours a week with a salary. Nobody's got that here. And yet, nonetheless, do several of our league commit themselves not only just to board meetings, but there are many kinds of meetings that go on, and they actually matter. Can you imagine going to a committee meeting that actually matters? If not, come and join one of the committees here. You'll see what it's like. Because things actually move forward and issues get addressed, and the imperative that's recognized is responded to. And people don't always agree, imagine that. And yet, it's Sangha. It's not just another meeting somewhere in the corporate world. This is Sangha, which means it's practice. How do you practice solving issues in the world, like lack of storage space, to pick one, right? And if our Dharma practice can't show up with the lack of storage space, we're not doing it right yet. It has to be able to function there. It's not just the blissful moments of sitting with the bird song and the summer breeze. I mean, it's that too, but what about the lack of storage space and other, right? The Guardian Council has met several times, and the seminary and the priests group continues to meet. You should know. Those who are still training for ordination, such as Yugen, and those who already have been ordained, we meet all the time, it feels like, talking about how to keep nourishing the community and be in touch with the pulse of what's happening. This is all just happening. See, all you do, perhaps, is come in and sit down, and that's great. But to make that happen, right, even just during this Ango period, this has been happening. There's been 13 Sunday services, there's been 13 Wednesday services, and 65 dawn Zazen practice periods. 65, right? Isn't that amazing? Now, I just want to point out, there's no one person who's actually doing all of this. Not me, not Doan, not anyone. We're all doing bits of it. We're all connecting to the mandala in the way that we can. But there's a hell of a mandala to connect with. Please do, right? We've met distance members on Zoom, and a new council has been formed that's called the Sesshin Council. And the Sesshin Council is kind of a combination of the seminary, the ordained, and the Guardian Council folks looking anew. What is Sesshin now? How can we improve this? Let's iron these things out. Now we're not adapting our environment every time we do a retreat because it's always a new environment. Now this is the environment. So how do we do it? How do we do it here? And as obvious as it may seem when you come and participate in retreat, it's a human thing. We have to decide how to do it. And we have to notice what's working and what's not really working, and how can we improve things. So this is an immense lift that's going on, and it's a good one, right? Denbo for this one, right? So So now another whisk flies about, yet another capable, competent woman teacher with the title sensei is rightly deserved and earned. Now the Dharma has yet this fuller expression of voice in the feminine form. Again, I could say to each one of these things, if only that happened, we've won. We've crushed it, you know? And yet it continues, because not only did that happen, but then do you remember the grand opening thing? Like, oh yeah, that happened too, right? Myoen Roshi is here, and Ed Brown, the Venerable, is here. And we had wasn't that amazing? And remember now, this is all inside one Ango. It's all inside one Ango that this has happened, right? Oh my gosh. And then the next session happened, and Tenka and her death process became the Sangha practice. Some of us had known about this for some time, and yet it is during this time, and I don't think it's incidental or insignificant, but when she, in her death process, actually became a teacher here and shared her death, shared her dying process with all of us in a very real way, as real as this stuff can get, which is as real as reality itself. So our new Buddha image arrived, and it was clear that we needed to do the eye-opening right now, and that became clear why. Because she had passed just that night before, as session was ending. I tell you this, her room in the hospital and in the hospice was directly connected to this zendo, closer than that porch. And she could tell, and so could many of us. And so then the business of what does a Mahayana Buddhist funeral look like in 21st century America? Because she gave me a koan. Last words I had with her was, pinky promise, I get a full boat Buddhist funeral. Hold nothing back. And I bowed to that. And so we did it. We found our way, clearly based on the history, clearly recognizable within our lineage and tradition, and yet workable for us, for our place and our time. And that was immensely powerful. To have the gift of Tenka's body right here, and to allow us to practice with her death by welcoming the family and then holding the vigil, which was so important to have Sangha members reciting the Diamond Sutra and the version of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which we adopted, and to conclude with the Tara mantra over and over and over, and dedicating it very clearly. And then, of course, the final rites, which are substantial, as you know. Now you know. All within this mystery of Ango. And in a way, these things are happening now. As Dogen pointed out, being, time are the same thing. And all things are happening just now. So in some very real way, from a Dharma perspective, all of this that we're experiencing now was calling us 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000, really. And what comes next is calling us still. We co-create together. And really, we're doing it. We are, all of us, creating this, embodying this, expressing this. And we get the delight and the joy and the bliss of being a part of it. And that's rare. London was filled with many, many Homo sapiens. Still is, I'm sure. I don't think any of them there could in any way count themselves wealthier. And not only just London, that's one pixel on the earth. I mean all of us. If you really consider what is the potential for a human being really, like what really matters in the most final analysis, in the light of Tenka's death, what matters? It turns out some things do matter. How do you engage with that? How do you connect with it? Well, we have practice. We train. We train the mind, we train the body, we open the heart, and we learn how to actually be in full contact with our life, with our death, which are not separate. And the result is compassion. That's what happens. And that's how you can tell. Now, in the midst of all of these things, let's see, Vesic, that happened. We had 3 Sangha circles, which meet in Sangha members' homes to discuss various topics that are decided by the teachers. We had a new sentient being community started, the hospitality group, and Suju has taken on leadership there to help with welcoming and food and all this. And a foolish us, we're going to add a new thing. Tara sits here above us, and she is the feminine Buddha, as we all know, the expression of awakening in feminine form. And Dawn did an amazing introduction to this. Really, you need more time. You need at least a full day Saturday, and probably you need a Friday night plus Saturday and a Sunday cap to be able to really do this. But you did amazing. And we want this to not just be something that happened and then ends. Rather, we should like to create a space that's dedicated to the White Tara sadhana within our schedule so that it's part of the ongoing opportunity for people's practice. Now, the White Tara practice itself is something very much that comes to us through our Mahayana Tibetan lineage, which is real, which is a very important influence in this community of practice. Clearly, we're Zen-based, but clearly we have a lot to do with the Tibetan lineage also, right? Mahayana Buddhism is Mahayana Buddhism. So what we've decided to do is to tie a White Tara practice session to this kind of lingering open slot on Thursday nights. But just once a month. We're going to kind of see which Thursday is closest to the new moon and plunk that night aside. And so there'll be a Thursday evening once a month, 7 to 9, just focused on the White Tara sadhana, so that those who resonate with this have an ongoing chance to receive more guidance from Sensei on the topic and to practice the sadhana in community. And I have great hopes that this will help us to connect even more with that aspect. It's important that as we address these social issues of injustice and climate change and women and equity and the Dharma and racism and all these things, the attempt is to try to do something then that sticks, that becomes a part of the culture in our community in an ongoing way. And so the White Tara sadhana shall commence, I think, June 28th or 30th. That's the new moon. So you've got an assignment, and I hope everybody can come and participate in this. Sensei, some comments, please. Oh, and we're closing with the Dharma combat next week with her. Yeah. Just to throw it out there.
Well, I don't have too much more to say. That was amazingly thorough. And I guess what was coming up was, you know how you read the session schedule before you've ever done it, and you're like, oh my God, who would do that? That is just like so intense. I could never do that, right? I had that sort of whiff of the session schedule as you were just going through all of those things. And I realized, like, I feel so energized right now, even though that was so much. And I feel like our community is energized by it. We're not exhausted by it. And on the face of it,
Both.
okay, yeah, all right. You may have to take a few more naps or whatever. So, and honestly, that's what I love about Dharma practice. And that's what is so special about Dharma practice in community, is that we're all giving each other so much life and so much energy. And just by our practicing and being together and keeping, like, showing up over and over and over again, we're really supporting each other. And we're really taking care of each other. And the other thing is, it doesn't matter if you've been practicing for 40 years or you've been practicing like here for one day, right? It all kind of is this amazing, even playing field. And that is really special and unique. And, you know, talking about that one blade of grass, you know, we are all practicing the one blade of grass from whatever position we're in. And we're just so fortunate and so lucky to be able to be together and to practice together. And I'm so grateful to be with all of you. Thank you.
So the Ango closing retreat starts this week. Sign up, be there. And then it concludes with Dharma Combat with Sensei. Be there.
We'll conclude with the Bodhisattva vows, also found on page 8. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our service for today. We'd like to extend a special warm welcome to our visitors today, and a special warm welcome to those visitors who helped sweep today. Are there announcements before we wrap up? You just heard one announcement about the session coming up. Please, more.
Hello? There it is. Hi, I just wanted to, you heard Roshi mention that there will be sessions starting this Thursday evening, running through Sunday liturgy service. If you were interested in attending, if you've never attended before, it may be too late for this session, but bear in mind, the process can still take place and prepare you for our next session. But if you have attended before but haven't registered yet, while the registration sheet is closed, you can reach out to Aka, who is the Guardian Council Registrar, and she can walk you through and get you registered if you are interested in attending, but please do so soon. Thank you.
Are there any other announcements?
Hi, I'm Suju. Two things. First of all, just a quick reminder that when you enjoy the lovely repast we have out there, please assist the sentient beings by rinsing your cup, dish, and placing it in the trays to the right in the kitchen. Our second monthly dinner outing is tomorrow evening. It will be at Cinco de Mayo in Holland, which is not too far from here, and at 7 p.m. We should have a reservation under BTT. Hope everybody can join us, or at least a lot of people. Oh, it would be helpful if you could go on the Facebook event and say that you're going so that we know how many to reserve for. Important. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Oh, yes?
I'm Chujin. On July the 2nd, I'm hosting an event at my house called Chillin' with Chujin, and we're going to end it with fireworks at the Belmont Country Club is going to do. So please come. There on our website, I did have a sign-up sheet. So hope you guys can come.
All right, thank you, everyone, and please restore the sendo.